Hey everyone, it's Victoria with Nutrition by Victoria and welcome to another video. So I received a few questions from my last video. Are you a fat storer or a fat burner? So I wanted to answer at least one of them today because I like to go in depth with the science and how this works. So the first question is, will I gain weight by increasing the amount of carbohydrates in my diet? This person says they're coming from like mostly vegetable eating, so I'm assuming that it's like more of a low carb diet or a low calorie diet. And this is kind of a loaded question because there are several factors at play here. One, it's highly dependent on your current metabolic rate. Two, what your current carbohydrate calorie intake looks like and what it has been, past history of dieting, or any medication that's kind of going to interfere with your metabolism working as efficiently as it could. I'm going to talk from my own experience here, but when you allow yourself to eat as much carbohydrate as you want, which really is only going to be coming from fruit, rice, potatoes, some wheat products like some breads, some baked goods. Pasta is actually a little bit higher in fat and protein. It's kind of like, I wouldn't call it an everyday food, but a sometimes food, just because the quantity that you can eat on this lifestyle, the fat and protein content of that can kind of build up over time. So rice is a better option. Plus rice is like a little bit closer to like its natural state, which is something that Freely points out all the time. So like, I agree with Freely, I agree with Harley. Like, ultimately you have to take this like diet advice or protocol or whatever you want to call it and make it your own. What I'm saying is, eat an unlimited amount of high carb, low fat, low protein food every day, which is fruit, rice, potatoes. That's mainly what I consume, with adding sugar and candies, sorbet, juice, dried fruit, dates as like supplements, because it's hard to get enough calories from just fruit, rice, and potatoes. Those are all low calorie density foods, so you have to add in the high sugar, high calorie density foods in order to promote satiation. Like, the combination of these together, I have no cravings for other foods at all. Like, people are like, how can you eat so low fat? Like, aren't you hungry? You have an eating disorder. Like, I hear it all, and I will tell you, I have more food freedom now than I've ever had in my entire life. Like, every day I'm just eating exactly what I want to eat, like, and that's it. Like, I eat, my satiety signals get satisfied, and I move on with my day. Now, it's taken me a long time to get to this place because I've done so much yo-yoing. I've done low calorie density, I've done more vegetables, I've like tried everything else in order to kind of prove it all wrong and figure out what works. So again, to answer the question, will you gain weight when you're coming from a lower carbohydrate calorie, I like to call it an insufficient carbohydrate calorie intake diet? The answer is yes. Like, if you don't, like, there's something wrong with your body, basically. But again, we need context, because if you're consuming 2,500 calories a day and you're able to do that by eating as much vegetables as you are, then naturally, like, when you start consuming more carbohydrates, you're going to eat less vegetables. I eat vegetables every day, but it makes up, calorie-wise, a very small percentage of my diet. I eat vegetables for like the flavor and the micronutrients, but overall, the majority of my calories every day are coming from carbohydrates, and that satiates me. And then I end up getting like enough protein and enough fat in just eating those high carb foods. Like, all plant foods contain carbs, fat, and protein in varying degrees, and I just choose the lowest fat, lowest protein ones, and they still contain a little bit, and it's enough in order for my body to be as healthy as it is, which is pretty healthy according to blood work and how I feel every day. I'm getting fitter. Like, my body functions great. I'm just, optimizing my health basically. So if you're coming to this diet from a low calorie diet, like, yeah, you're gonna gain some weight. It's called adaptive thermogenesis. Like, you have trained your body to be a fat storer, and in order to turn it into a fat burner, you have to gain some weight, whatever your body is going to need to gain, by eating a sufficient amount of carbohydrate calories. You need to turn your body back into that metabolic furnace. You need to raise your metabolic rate. And that's what happens with eating enough carbohydrate calories every day. You're giving your body the fuel that it needs to run your metabolic cellular machinery. Every single cell in our body is dependent on glucose being available all the time. And your body will shut off your hunger when you've had enough carbs, and it will turn on your hunger when it needs more. It's a beautiful process. So really, you just have to become intuitive with yourself and honor that hunger drive. A lot of intuitive eating becomes restrictive eating. But when you're truly intuitive, you know when you need to eat more carbohydrates, what carbohydrates you want, whether you need juice right now, whether you need some sugar right now, whether you need a big fruit meal right now, whether you need a big rice meal right now, whether you need more vegetables right now. Like, your body tells you what it needs. But when you're eating under 2,000 calories a day and you're a grown woman, that is an insufficient carbohydrate calorie intake. Okay, but that about wraps it up for this video. Will you gain weight eating more carbohydrates? It really depends. Like, is your body used to using carbs for fuel, or is it used to, or have you programmed it to store fat? So if you start eating more carbs and you're gaining weight and you're storing fat, that means that your body was programmed for that. If you start eating more carbs and you're like Get Fit with Natasha and you just start losing weight because you dropped the fat in your diet, then you know that you're a fat burner. But that's about it for this video. Please leave any comments or questions down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.